Stop lying to yourself. You're not depressed. You're undisciplined. You sleep in till noon, scroll on your phone for hours, eat garbage, and surround yourself with losers. Then cry that life feels empty. Of course it does. You're living like a spectator in a game you're supposed to be playing. You don't need pills. You need purpose. The truth is, every time you hit snooze, every time you skip the gym, every time you choose comfort over challenge, you're digging your own mental grave. And then you call it depression to escape the blame, but deep down you know the truth. You don't feel like a man because you're not doing what a man does. You're not earning your self-respect. You're outsourcing it to excuses. Discipline isn't punishment, it's freedom, and you can cry, scroll, complain, or you can stand up and earn the life you want. No one's coming to save you. Time to move. Stop treating yourself like a victim. You're not trapped in some chemical imbalance or cursed by fate. You're shackled by your own lack of backbone. Every morning you wake up and swipe through your endless newsfeed, drowning in other people's manufactured dramas and glossy highlight reels. Then you pat yourself on the back for feeling down. That's not depression. That's laziness masquerading as illness. You convince yourself you need a prescription so you can keep scrolling, keep sleeping, keep blaming the universe for your emptiness. You're not depressed. You're undisciplined. Look around you. People medicate their pain with Netflix binges, social media likes, overpriced lattes, self-help books that promise transformation but deliver distraction. They call it self-care. I call it self-sabotage. You think popping a pill will give you purpose, will suddenly light a fire under your ass and make you chase greatness. It won't. You're not broken on a molecular level. You're broken in your habits. Your day starts at noon because your alarm clock is your enemy, your bed is your lover, and your willpower is AWOL. You hit snooze 3 times, crawl out groggy, trudge to the kitchen, shovel in cereal like it's a silent protest against productivity, and then wonder why every waking moment feels like wading through mud. You're not depressed. You're undisciplined. Imagine ripping your eyes away from that screen, stepping out into daylight before it's high noon, feeling the cold slap of reality against your skin. That shock to your system is exactly what you need. Not another therapy session where you dissect childhood trauma, not another motivational quote to save to your wallpaper, not another weekend retreat where you find yourself. You already know who you are. You're a person too comfortable complaining to actually create change. You talk about how hard life is while you've never even tested your limits. You want life to respect you when you don't even respect your own routine. You're not depressed. You're undisciplined. Let's be honest. Real depression is debilitating. It's a weight so heavy you can't lift your arm, can't string a sentence together, can't imagine a day beyond the fog. That's a medical crisis. What you're feeling is boredom mixed with regret, drowned in escapism. You feel empty because you fill your time with noise instead of effort. You feel anxious because you've done nothing to deserve calm. You feel stuck because you refuse to put yourself through the discomfort of forging a new path. You won't admit it because shame is inconvenient. You'd rather call it depression than face the truth that you've let yourself go soft. You're not depressed. You're undisciplined. So here's your reality check. If you want to stop feeling worthless, stop acting worthless. Tear yourself away from the soft glow of your phone screen and challenge your body to something real. Go lift weights until the burn in your muscles drowns out the whining in your head. Go run until your lungs beg for mercy and your mind clears the cobwebs of excuse. Go read a page of something that expands your mind instead of shrinks it. Do push-ups, do cold showers, do whatever it takes to remind yourself what being alive actually feels like. Those are the actions of someone who refuses to settle for mediocrity. Those are the habits of someone who commands respect. Those are the first steps out of the pit you dug for yourself with every skipped commitment and every manufactured excuse. You're not depressed. You're undisciplined. Stop outsourcing your happiness to serotonin pills, to dopamine hits, to other people's approval. You're not a science experiment. You're a human being built for struggle and triumph. You're not a product on a prescription pad. You're a warrior. And warriors earn their victories through sweat and sacrifice, not by popping capsules and hoping for an emotional reset. You've been soft for too long, and now you want sympathy. But sympathy is the currency of the complacent. You want respect, earn it. You want fulfillment, create it. You want a life worth living, discipline yourself into one. Today is the day you admit the truth. Your so-called depression is a convenient mask for your unwillingness to take responsibility. Every excuse you make is a nail in your own coffin. Every moment you choose comfort over challenge is a declaration that you'd rather stay stuck than grow stronger. You're not depressed, you're undisciplined, and until you own that, you'll keep wandering through days that feel exactly the same. There's no pill for that. There's only a choice. Become the person who rips the mask off and rebuilds from the ground up, or stay the person who hides behind it forever. You think you need to feel ready before you act, so you wait for motivation to strike like lightning. You scroll through your social feed looking for inspiration. You binge, watch pep talks on YouTube, and you tell yourself tomorrow you'll feel better, stronger, hungrier. But here's the brutal truth. Life doesn't hand out permission slips for greatness, and feelings don't pay your bills or build your body. Discipline is the engine, emotion is the fuel gauge, and if you wait for the needle to climb before you drive, you'll never leave the driveway. Every champion you admire got up before sunrise when their eyelids screamed for just 5 more minutes. They didn't ask their heart how it felt. They followed a plan, a routine carved into their day like a monument to their future. You, on the other hand, chase every mood swing. If you're tired, you nap. If you're stressed, you zone out. If you're bored, you scroll. You let your emotions design your schedule. And that's why you feel stuck. You're trusting chaos when you need structure. Structure is you setting the rules, telling your mind and body exactly what to do, whether they like it or not. Structure is a ritual. Cold shower, 10 push-ups, 15 minutes of reading. That signals to your brain, get in line. It silences the whining, the excuses, the emotional tantrums. Emotion says, I don't feel like it. Discipline says, too bad. And every time you choose discipline over emotion, you strengthen your will. You build a fortress around your goals instead of leaving them exposed to the storm of your feelings. Imagine 2 fighters. The first trains when he's hyped, when he's angry, when the crowd is watching. He falls apart the moment life knocks him off his pedestal. The second soldier trains in silence at dawn, in the rain, when his heart says to quit. He doesn't wait for the crowd's roar. He thrives on the hush before battle. When the bell rings, the first fighter relies on bursts of adrenaline. The second walks to the center of the ring, calm, steady, unshakable. That's the power of discipline over emotion. You think skipping the alarm will cost you nothing, that one missed gym session is harmless, that swapping your workout for another episode is no big deal. But every instance bleeds momentum. Your brain rewrites your identity. You're not an early riser, you're a snoozer. You're not an athlete, you're a couch potato. You're not a producer, you're a consumer. Emotion justifies it all. I'm tired, I need rest. While discipline reminds you that rest is earned, not granted. Have you ever noticed how children cry when they don't get candy, but adults train through pain because they know the prize is worth discomfort? You're still crying in the candy store of your emotions, leaking self-pity with every dollar you waste on excuses. Meanwhile, life's real currency, time, effort, results, flips through your fingers. Discipline turns pain into progress. Emotion turns pain into permission to quit. You don't need to feel like kicking ass to start kicking ass. You need to start kicking ass to feel like kicking ass. That first step, that first rep, that first disciplined choice, it creates a ripple. You conquer 1 hour, then 1 day, then 1 week. Suddenly, you're not waiting for emotion. You're thriving because you've proven to yourself that you can follow through when your gut says no. You break the chains of how you feel and become the architect of how you act. So stop living at the mercy of your mood swings. Stop framing your inertia as an emotional crisis. Build a ritual so rigid that your emotions have no choice but to fall in line, because structure doesn't ask how you feel, it tells you what you do next. You scroll through TikTok as soon as you wake up, bleary-eyed and half asleep, chasing the next dopamine hit instead of chasing your goals. You tell yourself you'll just check notifications, and before you know it, an hour of your life vanishes into thin air. You've convinced yourself that grabbing your phone is harmless, but it's the first domino in a chain of self-destruction. You allow yourself to linger in that haze of distraction because it feels easier than facing the grind. You think you deserve a break before you've even started working. That's not relaxation. That's surrender on day one. You blame bad luck every time something doesn't go your way. Yet you're the one who chooses to sleep in. Skip the gym and fill your brain with nonsense instead of sharpening it with purpose. You wonder why your bank account is stagnant, but you're the one who orders Uber Eats instead of cooking a meal that fuels your body. You complain about traffic, but you're the one who leaves at the last possible second. You whine about not having enough time, yet you spend hours scrolling through other people's highlight reels. You're not a victim of circumstances. You're the author of your own underperformance. Your to-do list sits forgotten on a dusty desk, gathering more excuses than accomplishments. You write down big goals, start a side hustle, write a book, learn a language, but you cross out tasks before you even begin. You tell yourself tomorrow is for action, while today is for preparation. But preparation without execution is just procrastination dressed up in a suit. You've dressed your lack of progress in the language of ambition, and you've fooled no one except yourself. Every unchecked box is proof you'd rather talk about your dreams than chase them. You surround yourself with people who enable your comfort. Your friends cheer when you postpone your workouts so you can stay home and binge a series they recommend. They high-five you for taking it easy because they love having company in their sloth. You call it social time, but it's really a distraction, a shield against accountability. You pick companions who applaud your excuses, then wonder why you never break through. Your environment is fine, tuned to make you feel justified in doing nothing. Change the company you keep, and watch how the mirror of your habits shifts. When you look at your spending habits, you'll see the same careless pattern. You buy gadgets you don't need, sign up for subscriptions you never use, drop cash on nights out that leave you hungover and forgetful of why you went in the first place. You moan about not being able to invest in yourself, yet you're hemorrhaging money on things that add zero value. You tell yourself it's just one purchase, but those one-offs add up until you're broke, financially and mentally. You're too busy chasing temporary pleasures to build permanent achievements. You justify skipping the gym with the silliest rationalizations. I'm sore from yesterday. I need to rest my muscles. I'll go tomorrow, while you scroll Instagram and watch others crush their workouts. You'll wake up tomorrow more tired than you were today because every day off is another layer of inertia that's harder to shake. You think giving your body a break is noble. It's not. It's cowardice in training clothes. You feed your excuses and starve your discipline until you're skeletal on the inside as well as out. Your late-night ritual of doom, scrolling before bed, is an act of sabotage. You tell yourself it helps you unwind, but you fall asleep with anxiety riding shotgun. You wake up groggy, irritable, blaming the world for your fatigue. Meanwhile, you could have spent that time planning your next move, visualizing success, or simply reading a page of a book that stretches your mind. Instead, you trade your mental edge for a few more memes. Your choices write the story of your tomorrow, and right now it's a tragedy in the making. Every habit you tolerate builds a fortress around your potential. You tolerate chaos in your schedule, chaos in your relationships, chaos in your mind, and you wonder why you feel trapped. You've handed over the keys to your day to whims and whimsies, and now you're locked in a cage of your own design. Change the habits. Wake up with intent, move your body with purpose, feed your mind with value, and you break free. But only if you can stop lying to yourself about what you need, and start demanding what you deserve. You have all the tools. You have 2 feet to get you moving, 2 hands to get you building, and 1 brain powerful enough to chart a course out of the swamp of your making. What you lack is the courage to confront your daily choices and the willingness to call yourself out when you fall short. Stop dressing your comfort in the language of necessity. Stop letting every small compromise become a stepping stone to a life half lived. Speak to your habits with the harsh truth they deserve. Speak directly to the chaos you've allowed. Because until you call out every rotten choice, you'll keep playing the victim in a game you're rigging against yourself. You think pain is something to numb, to avoid, to medicate away. You treat every discomfort like a disease, a mistake, an accident that happened to you rather than a signal you chose to ignore. You swallow pills, scroll social media, binge on sugar and Netflix, all to quiet the itch of something deep inside telling you that you're slipping. But here's the brutal truth. Pain isn't your enemy, it's your compass. It points you toward where you need to grow, where you need to fight, where you need to evolve. Every victory you've ever heard of, every champion you've ever respected, got there by welcoming the burn, embracing the ache, staring down the sting and saying, "Bring it on." When you lift a weight and your muscles scream, that scream is not a curse. It's an invitation. It's your body telling you, this is new, this is change, this is growth. You ignore it at your peril, but if you lean in, if you welcome that burning sensation as proof that you're alive and improving, you transform that moment into power. Pain is proof you're doing something worthwhile. No pain, no progress. Every rep you push through is a brick in the fortress of your discipline. Every extra mile you run is a frontier you've claimed. When you cook up excuses to avoid the soreness, you're building rubble, not walls. The same principle applies to every corner of your life. Rejection in business, that pitch that got shot down, that email that went unanswered. It stings because you believed in something and it was denied. Most people treat that sting like a bullet wound and hide. They say, it wasn't meant to be, or they didn't get me. You get curious. You dissect the feedback, real or imagined. You ask, what did I miss? How can I sharpen my words, my offer, my pitch? You convert that rejection into raw data you use to engineer a better version of yourself, a stronger presentation, a more persuasive argument. That's ownership of pain. Emotional pain works the same way. When someone lets you down, ghosts you, criticizes you, whatever flavor of betrayal or disappointment you taste, you can swallow resentment and let it fester, or you can spit it out and examine it. You ask, why did that hurt so much? What expectation did I have? Where did I hand over my power? Pain reveals your weak spots, the places where your self-worth is fragile, where your boundaries are porous. You can nurse those wounds with self-pity, or you can treat them like traction, using the friction of discomfort to propel you forward. Every time you choose the latter, you raise your ceiling for resilience. Try leaning into small discomforts every day. Hold showers that jolt your system, brief periods of fasting that remind you you're in control of your impulses, early alarms that drag you from warmth and force you to own the morning. Each one is a microcosm of larger battles. They harden you for setbacks at work, for conflicts in relationships, for the chaos of real life. You're not doing these things because they're fun. You're doing them because they represent a contract you sign with yourself, a promise that you will not shy away from what frightens you. You become someone who stares trouble in the eye and never blinks. Pain as a tool also means refusing to play the victim. You get scrapes, you get bruised, you get knocked down, and you can choose to lie there, feeling sorry for yourself, or you can pick yourself up, press the wound, examine the damage, and figure out how to armor up next time. Each scar becomes a lesson, each limping step a reminder that you adapted. You start carrying your history not as baggage but as a dossier, a collection of evidence proving that you survived, you learned, you ascended. When people see you thriving in adversity, calm in crisis, focused under fire, they don't believe in magic. They believe in the process you've endured, the pain you've reframed, They respect the person who can take hits and keep moving forward, because they know how rare that is. They know most people crumble, but you wear the pain like a badge because you know it's the currency of transformation. Discomfort isn't your weakness, it's your forge. So the next time your mind screams to quit, to comfort, to retreat, listen carefully. That scream is your raw material. It's what you carve into strength if you dare to use it. Pain is not an accident that happened to you. It's a gift you've earned every time you step outside your comfort zone. Embrace it, own it, wield it, and watch how it turns everything you touch into steel. You wake up every morning and you're already in enemy territory. Your bed is a fortress of comfort. Your pillow a siren whispering for just 5 more minutes of surrender. But make no mistake, that's your first battlefield, and every second you linger, you're handing ground over to laziness. Life isn't a spectator sport. It's a war zone, and the casualties are countless. Wasted mornings, broken promises, dreams abandoned in the trenches of procrastination. Imagine your goals as strategic strongholds under siege. Every time you hit snooze, you're lowering the gates to the invading force of excuses. Every time you choose the path of least resistance, another scroll through your feed, another episode, another half-hearted attempt. You're letting the enemy plant its flag in your mind. You think skipping the gym or postponing your work won't matter, but these are not isolated skirmishes. They're tactical retreats that compromise the entire campaign. Defeat doesn't happen overnight. It rots from countless micro-surrenders. You wouldn't march into real battle without armor, without weapons, without a plan. And yet you face the fiercest war of all, the one inside your own head, completely unarmed. Your routine is your arsenal. Your habits are your army. If you enter each day with a strategy, a wake-up call at dawn, a list of objectives, a commitment to strike when the iron is hot, you'll drive back the tide of lethargy before it even forms. But most people refuse to pick up their swords. They treat discipline like a burdensome drill, rather than the lifeline that keeps them alive in this conflict. Take stock of the terrain of your life. There are high-ground moments, projects that could define you, relationships that could elevate you, opportunities that could reshape your destiny, but between you and those peaks lies no man's land, distractions, temptations, fears. If you don't advance, you'll be pinned down. If you don't assault the ramparts of your comfort zone, you'll lie trapped in the mud of regret. And while you hesitate, the standards you set for yourself will erode under enemy fire. In war, logistics win battles. Supply lines, reinforcements, planning. In life, logistics are your daily commitments. Do you refuel with healthy food or empty calories? Do you rest strategically or collapse in burnout? Do you train your mind and body or let them atrophy? These decisions are the supply convoys that determine whether you hold ground or fall back. When you fuel chaos, you invite collapse. When you fuel discipline, you build an unstoppable force. On the battlefield, soldiers bond through shared hardship, trust forged in fire. In your life, you are both general and soldier, and you must inspire yourself to endure. When that inner voice screams retreat, you answer with a counter-command, advance. You cultivate an unbreakable will by proving to yourself, time and again, that your resolve is stronger than your excuses. That mental fortitude is the difference between someone who talks about what they'll do and someone who does it. Laziness is an infiltration tactic. It creeps in disguised as harmless breaks, as deserved downtime, as well-earned rest. But unchecked, it will take over your entire operation. Before you know it, your objectives lie in ruin, your ambitions sold out for fleeting comfort. You must root it out ruthlessly, like weeds in a garden of progress. Whenever you sense the first stirrings of complacency, you counterattack immediately. A cold plunge, a sprint, a study session, a phone call to an accountability partner. Every act of resistance is a reclaimed mile in the march toward victory. Remember that every legendary general faced moments of doubt, moments when the odds were overwhelming and the night was darkest. Their legends were not written in moments of ease, but in moments of burning defiance. They didn't pause to wonder if they felt like fighting. They fought because they knew what was at stake. You don't wait for readiness. You create readiness by taking action. By moving first, you seize momentum, and momentum is the fountainhead of all conquest. When you make battle against your own worst impulses, you establish a battlefield tone that echoes through every aspect of your life. You become someone who doesn't flinch at difficulty, but welcomes it as proof that you're alive, that you're growing, that you're in the fight. People won't remember the small victories you chalk up in obscurity, but they will feel your presence, your energy, your refusal to yield. You'll command respect not because you demand it, but because you've earned it through relentless advance. Life's war is constant. There is no cease-fire, no neutral territory where you can rest without risk. Every day you must choose. Will you defend your potential or capitulate to laziness? There's no glory in surrender, no honor in retreat. But there is triumph in every disciplined choice, every disciplined hour, every disciplined day. You claim victory not when the war is over, for it never truly ends. You claim victory when you fight with unwavering intent, when you refuse to allow your worst self to drag you down. This is how battles are won and kingdoms built. Saddle up, soldier, and prepare to march.